there's so many different ways that what we have been conditioned and have been told is the right way to grow and have progress in life, which actually really means what success looks like to us, may not even be aligned to what you wholeheartedly believe is right for you. Welcome to Reinventing the Arena, the podcast that guides you through the powerful journey of aligning, embodying, and rising into your most authentic self. We dive deep into the transformative power of doing the inner work because the most important relationship you have is the one with yourself. When you align with your authentic self, you naturally attract the relationships and experiences meant for you. I'm your host, Molly Connolly, a coach who's passionate about helping you uncover who you truly are using human design, NLP, and self-empowerment tools. Here we explore the art of aligning with your authentic self, embodying your highest potential, and rising above old patterns to create a life that resonates with who you truly are. Whether you're seeking deeper fulfillment in love or your personal journey, this space is designed to inspire your evolution. Together, we'll explore self-discovery, share transformational stories, and uncover the energetic shifts needed to create the love and life you truly desire. This isn't just about change. It's about fully stepping into who you were meant to be. So lady, align, embody, and rise. Welcome to your journey of self-transformation. Welcome to Reinventing the Arena. All right, welcome back to Reinventing the Arena. I'm your host, Molly Connolly, and I am so excited to be here with you today. So, how have you been? How has the beginning of spring changed you or influenced your energy at all? I'm going to be talking today about our energetic patterns and how they show up every single day, how they show up long term, how they are going to be different than other people, and that is what you are designed to be. So, one thing that I find very fascinating, actually, before I get there, if you haven't found your chart, if you haven't bothered to pull your human design chart, I have news. You can go to my website, enter in your information, and pull your chart for yourself. Then over the course of a few days, you will receive an email describing what your energy type is. And then we're going to talk about your strategy and your authority. We're also going to talk about the energy centers. So if those are things that you want to learn, just some of the very high level basics about your human design chart, go to my website, reinventingthearena.com/human design chart. You can even find it on my homepage too. But whatever way you want, go and find your chart so that when we have these discussions on the podcast, you already know what I'm discussing and you can say, oh, that's me, or actually that's my girlfriend, or that's my boyfriend, or that's my husband, or that's my best friend. You can pull this information for yourself and for others. All right, so let's get into the episode today. So the purpose of today, I just really want to, like I said, discuss the different energy types and how they have different cycles. And here's why, because we have a lot of conditioning about how we are supposed to operate. And most of the people I work with don't operate underneath the same societal obsession of what growth looks like. So I really want to bridge the gap between feeling stuck or the challenging the idea of being stuck and how that really relates to human design and your energy type. And the more that you get into alignment, how that transformation happens for you. So most of the time, especially when I'm talking to clients, they feel stuck and they feel like they are repeating the same thing over and over again. Whether that's in their relationships where they're dating the same people, or they're in a relationship and they're having the same problems come up again and again and again. And it seems as if nothing is making them go away or nothing is getting resolved. And maybe it's happening in your career. Maybe it's actually something that you see in all areas of your life, meaning that this is now spilled over from one specific area of your life into others, which that's pretty typical to have a rippling effect of things like this in your life. So One of the other things about, feeling stuck is that sometimes we're so focused on the stuck feeling or the evidence around ourselves that we really don't see how we have these opportunities, or even how we may be in an opportunity for transformation. Just like I mentioned earlier, like society is obsessed of our growth. If you want to think about just the educational system is a very great example. You go to school, kindergarten, first grade, all the elementary school grade levels, and then you go to middle school, and then you go to high school. It's a linear projection. And then that's when people can say, oh, well, maybe I go to this college or I don't go to college at all. And the projection changes, but the overall belief system of society is usually you go to college, then you find someone, you get a job, you get married, you buy the house, you go do all these things, and then you retire and die. Like a very hypothetically simplistic method of life. And you can even do this with very different segments of your life. So like, let's go back to where I say, like, you get a job. In that job, your hypothetically societal expectations is that you stay at that job and you build your way up into maybe upper level management, maybe into the C-suite, or maybe your parents told you differently and you were like, I can go do whatever I want, or you're very entrepreneurial and you decide to start one business after the other, or even maybe you're just saying, I want to very much hyper focus in a trade area. There's just so much about the career paths that we choose and take that maybe don't even align with society norms. Relationships, we have the same thing. You graduate high school, you go to college, and maybe you meet your person in college, or maybe you met your high school sweetheart, and then you're expected to hurry up and get married, depending on what your societal norms are. Even different areas of the United States, people don't get married until, maybe their late 30s or 40s. And some people, that seems extremely late because they want to hurry up and get married in their 20s and have a lot of children. So there's so many different ways that what we have been conditioned or have been told is the right way to grow and have progress in life, which actually really means what success looks like to us, may not even be aligned to what you wholeheartedly believe is right for you. So I wanted to talk about these growth cycles in that way for all these for the 5 different energy types, and so that you can pick out which one feels more aligned to you if you still do not know what your energy type is. So each energy type has different ways of growth, and they have different ways that they operate, and they have energetic patterns that are very unique to them. Now, out of all the 5 energy types, which is the manifestor, the generator, manifesting generators, reflectors, and projectors, there is only one that is supposed to be the initiator, the one that is supposed to go for it and do the thing. I call this, after a lot of my training, the just do it energy. No matter what, we have all been conditioned somewhere along our lives to just do it. Just go do the thing. Go do it. Don't stop. Don't question. Just go after what you want. This energy is the manifestor energy. The manifestor initiates. They are the ones that go ahead and say, oh, from my perspective, this is what I want to do. And I'm going to tell people I'm doing this and I'm going to go do that. And they actually take the action. They don't just say it, they do it. So they inform and initiate consistently through a cycle. And their cycle is very much like the seasons, which is why I brought that up in the first place. So when a manifestor realizes that they're ready, that is like the seasonality of spring. They have started to see the little, offshoots coming of maybe like a tulip in a flower bed. They're starting to see those little tiny greenlings coming up. And they decide they need to inform people like, hey, I'm going to go do this. And so when they inform, they go take action. And taking action is along the lines of the season of summer. So they're in it to win it. They are doing what exactly they said they want to do. And they're informing people saying, I am doing the thing. here's the thing that I am doing. And they continue to develop that thing until they realize I need help. And when they need help, they're more in the season of fall. So they're in this other transition of wanting to hand it off to the other energy types. So this is when the other energy types step in, whether that's a generator, manifesting generator, reflector, or projector. They come into the manifestor and they are 100% aligned. If it feels aligned, they are 100% ready to take that off the hands of the manifestor. So, of course, the next season is winter. And for winter, a manifestor is reflecting. They're looking back at the actions that they've taken. They start to review and analyze. Was this a good decision? How could I improve? Or what is it that I want to work on next? So, this cycle for a manifestor can happen, ironically, during a full day. It can happen over time, like a greater amount of time. It could happen for a few weeks. It could happen actually for a year, especially if it's a really big project or area of their life that they want to take these steps with. But the one thing that manifestors need to realize is the winter, the season of winter is so important for them to step back and reflect on the actions that they've taken, because it will help them come springtime to take either new and improved action or even maybe a whole completely different direction for them based off the learnings that they have. Now, within this cycle, the manifestor actually, throughout their cycle, as well as their energy through the day, they are one of those, I don't know, I would almost say energizer bunnies. They are full of energy in the morning. It's almost as if you've given them like 5 cups of coffee and they feel like they can tackle their day. Everything's wonderful. And they get to a point where I have lost all of my energy and I need to rest. And this is when they need to inform people, hey, I need to go take a break. I need to go take a nap. Hey, can you take the kids? I need to take about an hour time to myself, whatever it is. And it's really important for them to communicate their needs in this way because, like I said, that sort of energy pattern of having a lot of energy in the morning and then it slowly fades over time throughout the day, and taking that rest versus forcing themselves into another round of energy, meaning like I'm going to take an energy drink, I'm going to drink a lot of coffee, whatever it is, that will disrupt their energetic system. And it will force them not to rest, which can then lead to burnout. So going into this pattern is really difficult for some of the manifestors I have worked with in the past, because you get a lot of pushback. You get a lot of people saying that's crazy, you can't take a break right now, or that's not how this operates. But sometimes we have to gently move into these energetic patterns, maybe not so abruptly and whatnot, but learning how to communicate your needs in a way that allows you to still shift into a restful energy, a restful space in order for you to utilize your energy patterns the way that best suits you. So now I want to move into the projector. The projector, as if you remember in the last episode, we talked about the house, and it was the manifestor who reached out to the projector to discuss, hey, I need help. Can you help me with this? And the projector's like, let me guide you. So during that season of fall that I recently mentioned, and the manifestor comes to the rest of the energy types, the projector is the one who's waiting for the invitation. So any energy type that comes up to the projector and says, I need your help. I see that you are wise and you have expertise in this area, is really speaking to the projector. The projector gets very excited and has short bursts of energy and then needs a longer amount of time to reflect and rest. This is very typical. You will see this. You almost like would think of a projector as an introvert, except for these really excited moments where they get very passionate about this one thing that you invited them to do, or ask them, hey, would you be the person to do X, Y, and Z for me? Or would you be the person who would like to help me set up the kid's birthday party? Would you like to come over and spend time talking to me about your area of expertise? Would you like to go out on a date? All these sort of things are wonderful for a projector to hear because that'll let them use their internal compass to see if this really works for them. And they know how much energy they can give towards that. The one thing about projectors, sometimes because they get into this very excited energy when they are invited, that they start saying yes to everything. And so this is where boundaries really come into play, because if a projector doesn't put up boundaries within themselves, they can burn out extremely fast, to the point where they will probably be so hard to get in touch with that you might even think that they've fallen off the face of the earth, when all they're doing is trying to rest so much where they can gain this amount of energy to be present with themselves again, and then have enough energy to be present with others. So being aware of your friends or family members that are projectors, it is noticing how much they need boundaries. It's noticing that if you have a friend that's a projector, which I do, she has fantastic boundaries. And I have learned how to respect them. As a generator who's very excited about something, I have to ask in advance and say, hey, would you like to get coffee or lunch in a few weeks? Trying to do something last minute can be one of those things where she energetically says yes, and we can go do that. Or other times, she is already in an energetic pattern where she needs rest and she doesn't respond. This is something that when you learn about the other energy types, you're going to learn how to communicate and know not to take things personally, as well as being able to respect other people's boundaries in a whole different way. So, as a projector, what can I recommend here? If you are feeling like you're not getting enough energy from your day, you're not being invited, learn to invite yourself. Learn to invite yourself into the restful phase, because this is going to actually increase your energetic battery for when you have those aligned and passionate invitations. One more thing about projectors to think about is that because of this, and I know I mentioned it just recently too, about how they can utilize that energy, and they get really, really excited and they start saying yes to everything. Something that does happen specifically for projectors, but it is noticeable in everyone I've worked with that isn't even a projector, is that when they start to force things. So for someone that maybe doesn't even know that they're a projector yet, or is just discovered that they are, one thing they may notice is that they are trying so hard to force something to work. And this is kind of in line with boundaries. When you say yes to too many things, you're kind of forcing the energy and forcing yourself to do all the things, which is only really aligned for manifesting generators. So what you want to think about as a projector is, how am I forcing things to become something that maybe I'm being told, I'm being conditioned to force things to happen? Just like I mentioned earlier, the just do it sort of mentality, the energy that is more manifestor of initiating, and learning how to be receptive instead. Allow yourself to wait. I know it is so tough because practically all the energy types other than a manifestor are about waiting. So waiting until you're invited for things that you are really passionate about is tough, because especially if you're a projector, when you have your throat center defined, you want to tell everyone about what you're passionate about. And if you have other centers defined, if you are an emotional projector, you're going to want to talk about your emotions a lot. And if you're a mental projector, you're going to want to talk about your opinions, your ideas a lot. That is okay, but to understand that wait to be invited allows your message to come out even more clear. It actually hits and resonates with the people that deserve or really want to hear it. So forcing your emotions or forcing your opinion and forcing your ideas onto other people is going to draw your energy down. And what you need to do instead is say, is this message really meant for them? Do I need to share this with them? Or is this more me needing to take a look at myself and say, how can I respond to my needs by waiting? How can I sit back and tend to myself in order to become that energetic boundary for the right opportunities? All right, now let's talk about projectors. And this is me, so it's been fun to try to learn my energy type and sit with it for the last year or so. What I really like being as a generator, when you start to tune in, which actually on my blog called The Rise, you can read a few of the stories about listening to my sacral authority, which we're going to get into that in a few more episodes. But as a generator, you have a lot of energy in your sacral. It's all about desire. And you can get really lit up about what you desire and your passions and about creativity. But if you force yourself to initiate them, just like the projector, you're going to be stuck, but in a different way. This amazing energy of a generator is literally, like I said, generator. It's a battery. It's a life force. We are the creative alchemists of the energy types. And if you listen back to the last episode, about 70% of the community of the collective is a combination between manifesting generators and generators. We have so much energy to give, but people can take advantage of that. So if you're not, let's say like you're in a career that you know you're not interested in anymore and you're not aligned, you're going to know, you're going to feel that dread every single day showing up to that job. You're going to dread doing any sort of work. You're not going to feel connected to it. You're not going to feel like there's purpose in it anymore. And sometimes that's conditioning as well. And sometimes that's rediscovering why you were passionate about it in the first place and see if it still aligns with you. But most of the time, generators are in the wrong career, in the wrong relationship, because they're noticing how much they can give to it and is seeking validation from that. So with the conditioning of staying in a job for XYZ many years and working your way to the top, most generators, when they find something that they're passionate about, they can do that. They can work day and night all the time. It doesn't seem to matter for them. They feel so satisfied when they have accomplished or finished or made, checked something off their to-do list and made progress on something they were really passionate about. That is wonderful, but that doesn't happen for every single one of us because we are not in the right alignment, or we're not fully aligned into what we're capable of, or even not sharing who we are as a person. So with generators, we have to wait in order to respond. So by knowing what your desires are and what you're passionate about, what really lights you up, really brings in this magnetism, this sort of energy that all the other types, to be honest, want. They want that fiery passion. They want to have the creativity. And it's only within your area. So maybe you are someone who loves making handmade pasta, and you go off on a deep end on how to make handmade pasta, and you try different, like maybe you do ink pasta, and maybe you do spinach, and you do different ways of like stuffing the ravioli and tortellini, and should I make linguine? Should I make penne pasta? Oh, how about these two combinations? Can I try making gluten-free? Can I try this? And your obsession allows you to become a master. So doing a repetitive tasks and learning every day is really important to you. I know every single day I am deep in learning something, and it's so satisfying. I feel like with human design, there's always something new to learn every single day. It's a lifelong passion of mine now. I cannot even begin to go into the deeper areas of this because it's just so wild. So with the generator, it's the same thing. You find something and you feel it in your body, in your soul, that this is what you want. This is what you've meant to do. And you can become someone who, let's say you love college football. This is my brother, for example. Like, you love college football. You can sit there and you can memorize statistics after statistics. You can be someone who can talk about it day in, day out. You have just so much knowledge of what's going on, even in the landscape of college football, that if you sit down and someone asks you these questions, you could just talk for hours, or you can show them plays, or talked about this one athlete's trajectory from freshman in high school to now where they are today as like maybe a senior in college, right? There's so much depth in one subject. And when you have that within yourself and you can focus within that, waiting to respond is critical. So when I ask my brother about college football or ask him his opinion about, hey, who do you think is going to win this game? He can tell me ins and outs and whys and what this person says and what he believes versus that. There is just a plethora of information a generator can give you. And there is a plethora of information that you can share when you wait to respond. So this doesn't mean waiting to respond till someone like asks you with the invitation, but it's knowing that it's okay for you to be heads down, like completely deep and immersed in whatever you are enjoying. Because this allows you to build that energetic battery that is going to attract opportunities to you, which I have found within myself as well. So just because you are looking at something every single day and studying it and being very passionate about it doesn't mean you're stuck. Think of it as you are building your energetic boundary. You are building your energetic I just about said it again, battery, in order to then share and respond to those that are very excited about it. So when you take both the generator and the manifestor and you put in the manifesting generator together, what do you think you're going to get? This is where manifesting generators, like I think I've said this before on a podcast episode, they are very unique. I almost think they're just as unique as reflectors, but there's more manifesting generators than there are reflectors in the world. So with manifesting generators, you have both the energies, okay? You initiate and you inform, but you also can be very detailed oriented and need to wait to respond. So how does this work for yourself? So they are multi-passionate individuals, okay? They are multitaskers and they are multi-talented. So I'm going to use my husband as a great example, if I haven't already shared this. So he is an engineer and he is also someone who's very good at trivia. He's also a triathlete now. He might not call himself a triathlete, but I do for the amount of training that he does. And he also used to be a drummer and he still drums every once in a while. So let's just take that. When I was growing up, these are not things that would very much overlap. I would not say that an engineer would be someone that played sports. I would not say that someone that played sports would, be interested in like music and can play the drums, or any musical instrument for that matter. I also wouldn't say that someone who is an engineer can be very, very, very social. And my husband actually, in his job, he also does business development. And not every engineer that he works with is able to do that. So being able to have different buckets allows you to really create this different, unique, energetic boundary. You know when to stop. So training, for example, Brad just has this amazing capacity for training. The alarm goes off at 4:40 in the morning, or 4:45 right now. And we will get up. Some days I don't, but he might go swim 3,000 yards and then go run 5 or 7 miles for his training, all before going to work. And this is one of the things that some people don't have that energetic reserve battery to even put forth the effort, or they are so passionate about it that sort of energy stays within them, and then they can go ahead and transition to the next thing and be excited about it, and be continuously passionate about it. So once again, what might be happening for manifesting generators, if this is you, you might be told that you can't do all these things, that this is weird, that you are going to burn yourself out, that you just need to focus on one thing and one thing only and do it right. That is wrong. That is not for you. You are allowed to be a multi-passionate person and multifaceted. So be engulfed in your passions, but know when to put them down. You might actually get to a phase where you might just say, like maybe my husband at some point might say, I just don't want to play drums anymore. And I will be like, that's totally fine. But he knows that he can pick it up again whenever he wants because he's multi-talented and able to do that. So knowing when you need to stop, whether that's a pause for right now today and pick it up again tomorrow, or it's a pause right now and maybe return to it in 5 years or never return to it at all, is okay and part of the manifesting generator's path with their energy. So once again, this is just something to be aware of. Your daily energy is also very similar to either a manifestor or a generator, depending on how it is connected to your throat center. That is something for more of a detailed reading, but try to pick it up on yourself to see, are you more of an initiator and it feels good to initiate for you and inform people of what you're doing? Or does it feel better of just doing the thing that you love over and over and over again and maybe moving on to the next thing without having to tell people that that's what you're doing? These energies for a manifesting generator can shift as well over time. So it's just something to be aware of if this is your energy type. All right, so reflectors are the rarest type of them all, and I have yet to coach a reflector. I will be honest, I have notes on how this works for a reflector, but if you are a reflector, I would love for you to reach out to me. Let me give you a reading so we can talk things through and see how you're doing and what ways we can utilize your chart, because learning more about a reflector on a one-on-one setting is so important to me. And depending on the time of your listening to this, I would love to have 5 reflectors, but I know that that is so hard to find one, to discuss their chart and see what areas resonate with them and what doesn't and what they're really feeling. So reflectors really need space, and they really need to be environments that make them feel safe, make them feel secure, and make them feel like themselves. Energy is they are very sensitive to all kinds of energy. They can be even sensitive to like technology, weather, environment where other people are living with them. Meaning, so let's say you are a reflector and you're living with a manifestor who constantly goes, and goes. You may feel energetically drained around these people. At the same time, you're going to be able to do things that other people can't do. Reflectors have completely undefined and open centers, all 9 of them. And so I explained this on my Instagram stories today, the difference between when a center is colored in and when it's not. So when it's colored in, it's called defined. And a defined center means that you have access, a consistent access to that energy type that energy and that theme of that energy center. So the spleen, for example, I have access to that, and that's instincts. My sacral, because I am a generator, I have access to desire and creativity. All my other centers are open. And so like the root is a pressure center. This is like expectations. This is where you may have issues with setting boundaries. So just to use that example, for reflectors, when you have an undefined or open centers, this means that you don't have constant access to this energy. It means that there's going to be conditioning around it, which is, we're kind of dabbling that in right now when we're talking about the conditioning, just even about the energy types. It goes even deeper into the energy centers. So you can have conditioning around boundaries and expectations with the root center. You can have conditioning around emotions from the solar plexus, about identity, about your ego, about your communication through your throat, sense of ideas and inspiration. All of those are different centers within the body. So what is really fascinating is that reflectors are here to observe us and observe themselves. They are really wise when they get aligned into their chart, because this really allows them to observe the shifts in people and track that in themselves, as well as saying, do I want to access some of this energy or do I not? Is this energy mine? Is that theirs? Which is, yes, an overarching question to be asking for everybody, but they're more in tune with this. I almost like to think of reflectors as like the wise woman or the sage of a community, where someone like has a deep, dark question that they're like, oh, no one else in the community knows how to answer this, but so-and-so would, and would go and ask them questions. And they would be able to reflect back to them and help them find the answers within themselves, which is really wonderful position for a reflector. So you might have heard this in other podcast episodes that I've shared, but reflectors do make decisions on a lunar aspect, with the moon. So the moon cycles is when usually, especially for really big decisions, that the reflectors can come in and share that information. And so instead of thinking spring, summer, fall, winter for a manifestor, we have a whole different moment for reflectors. Is more of a monthly cycle. And one thing that I think is fascinating is that maybe for smaller issues or smaller areas in your life, it's easier for you to make those decisions over a few days, versus like, should I move from the Midwest to Thailand? That's like a big question, moving completely to a whole different area of the world. And how would I do that? How do I speak the language? How would I have an income? Yada, 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 all the different things. So that is a bigger question. That might be 2 months or 3 months or 4 months of you trying to figure out if this is the right thing for you. So really tapping into the shifts in your decisions. So like, and how to do this is really starting to tap into, okay, at home, I know this is my safe space. I can make decisions about X, Y, Z in my office. I can make decisions here in my bedroom. I can make decisions here when I'm outside in the garden. But also start testing the environment. Like, okay, when I hang out with my brother, how does that influence, or what type of emotions or what type of thoughts are coming in? I'm going to observe those. Are they mine? Am I going to be able to make decisions better with my brother or better with my best friend? And realizing that maybe you also, as a reflector, need to have your questions reflected back to you based off of what type of person you are with. So as a generator, you could sit down with them and say, how do I be productive? What feels productive to you? And you could just have a conversation around that and see what's yours and see, I want to take that idea from, hypothetically, me as a generator. I want to take that idea from Molly and I want to utilize that and see, and I'm going to try it on for size and see if it works for me. And maybe it does and maybe it doesn't. So I almost think too, reflectors are really experimental. So moving through these long cycles of experimentation is fine for you, even though society tells you it's not. So being aware of that is something to take with you as you move forward in your life experimenting as a reflector, because clarity for you takes time. So overall, for all the energy types, being able to notice these areas of not only your energetic patterns, and knowing the energetic patterns of the others is really helpful in your own self-transformation and also your own energetic expansion. So what I would love for you to do for yourself, if you can, is to start noticing what phase of transition you're in. Especially once you know your energy type. As a manifestor, are you right now in the season of summer? Are you just taking a bunch of action and then realizing, oh, I'm not making space for winter, and saying, okay, I'm going to try this out? As a projector, are you forcing your opinion, your ideas? Are you forcing your emotions onto other people? Are you forcing anything to initiate? Step back and allow people to come in and wait for that invitation. Generators, are you one of those that's like in an area where you don't feel joy, you feel burnt out? Are you working and working and working and working on something that's just not really lighting you up? It's not, it's making you feel drained by the end of the day. And the more that you do it, it's just worse and worse and worse. And you realize you have less and less energy to move through your day. I would start questioning and asking yourself either, when did this start happening, as well as what made me be passionate about this in the beginning? Was it the person who initiated it? Was it the opportunity, whatnot? And figure out ways to recharge your battery. Manifesting generators, dip your toe in and see which side you're on. Are you on the manifestor side or are you on the generator side? Which one pattern seems like you? Reflectors, really sit back and say, how often do I give myself time? Am I doing that? Am I forcing these decisions and then regretting them later? Look at your own patterns and say to, maybe I need to dig deeper. So if you haven't already, go to my website, go ahead and enter in your information, get your chart so that you can at least know right now what your energy type is. And so that when we have these discussions on the podcast, you can follow along and say, yeah, that sounds like me, or yes, I need to try this out. That'll be helpful for you as we continue. So, a few other questions overall that you can ask yourself. Is this frustration or is this an invitation to pause? Is my energy saying not yet, or am I afraid to move forward? Am I actually repeating old cycles, or am I responding to them differently? These are other things, depending on your energy type. Maybe one of those questions resonated with you. So, once again, everybody's energy patterns and seasons of growth is different. We're all in this at different levels, and everybody's transformation takes time. It's just being aware of your energy patterns and cycles is going to be really helpful for you in the future. So come back next 2 weeks from now. I keep on forgetting that I'm now doing this every other week. And we're going to talk more about how you can recognize your transformation within yourself. And this is extremely important for you to have your energy type down, because I want to talk about something that's going to allow you to move forward when making decisions. All right, lady, thank you once again for joining me today. If you enjoyed this podcast episode, I would love it if you would leave a rating and review, because then it helps more people in the community find these episodes. And yeah, I just would love to hear from you. If this resonated, go ahead and find me on Instagram, send me a DM, and I will be back to chat with you again soon. Thank you, lady, for joining me on this journey of aligning, embodying, and rising into your most authentic self. Remember, the most important relationship you have is the one you have with yourself. And when you do the inner work, you naturally attract the love and life meant for you. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to rate and review the show. Your feedback not only helps more women discover the power of self-transformation, but also helps us grow this community. If you're ready to go deeper and align with a relationship and life you truly desire, I invite you to explore my coaching services. Together, we'll use human design, NLP techniques, and self-empowerment tools to help you break through old patterns and create a life that resonates with who you truly are. Visit reinventingthearena.com to learn more and take the next steps in your journey of self-discovery and alignment. Until next time, lady, keep aligning, keep embodying, and keep rising. Thanks for listening to Reinventing the Arena.